many Dems. Many, many Dems. Wish death on me, Lord, I don't cry anymore. Don't look to the sky anymore. Have mercy on me, have mercy on their souls. Somewhere their hearts turned cold. Have mercy on many Dems. Many Dems. Wish death on Some days wouldn't be special if it wasn't for rain. Joy wouldn't feel so good if it wasn't for pain.
Yeah, no, man, you already know exactly what time it is. And I am forgetting something. Damn it, I'm always fucking forgetting something. Hold on, y'all. There we go. There we go. That's better. Now that I got my fucking shades on. Sometimes I stay forgetting to put them hose on. He said video quality terrible on the camera. I don't know. It must be on your end because I'm looking at it from my phone. My phone looks fine. It looks normal. But so with that being said, man, we are back here to continue the Candace Owens, Alex Jones interview. Been very interesting so far. We learned about fucking spider goats. We learned about psychology. We learned about all types of different shit. Reverse psychology, getting people to do things that they don't want to do. It's been fucking a hell of a ride, man. So we're gonna go ahead and continue with that interview. So that being said, let me go ahead and add this shit up here real quick. Bam, just like that. All right. So with that being said, let's jump into this shit, man. 3, 2, 1, go.
While the elites at the top get to enjoy a prosperous state. Now, whether you believe that or not, what you are dealing with right now is the reality that it is a struggle to keep up with bills, food, gas, even the power bill. Well, if you own a home and you want to change things around for you, you need to call my friends at American Financing. They are equity 10, most of us a month able to finance 12.
Wrong, right. But it is true. And the Nazis were terrible. You've said that many times.
Right.
But it is true that Eisenhower and the Allies, because Europe was destroyed and there wasn't a lot of food, people were dying of disease everywhere. He did just pen up men, women, and children in large open air. He put them actually in the work camps and starved about 2 million Germans to death. And that's come correct. Out in BBC reports. You've covered it. And all you're saying is America did that to the Native Americans. So Hitler's bad for us to then say, but we've done bad stuff too, and we're capable of evil. That's not endorsing Hitler.
Right. Well, they know it's not endorsing him, but they pretend it is because, again, that's a part of the process of the awakening, right?
That's the lie.
So people were shocked when I showed them that old BBC documentary, Stalin. People don't even know about the Bolshevik Revolution. I mean, we are so polluted. We are so propagandized in the classroom, and we have no concept of history. This was why they did not want that Tucker and Putin interview to take place, because Americans have we're basically like goldfish. We don't have a memory of anything. And they want to keep us like that. They want to keep us fat and dumb and polluted with drugs so they can tell us what the narrative is. This is why they don't want kids being able to read, because then they will tell us what history is. And in each scenario, we defeated the bad guys. We never were the bad guys. I mean, it's basically a fairy tale. And so all it takes is the injection of one drop of truth. Right. And for me, it was that BBC documentary. And I went, what the heck is going on? How did I not know about this? How did I not know we had done this? And then you start realizing you've never really known your country and who has been running this country. And I've been showing to my audience, they are literal Satanists. Like, we're not saying this in the you're devilish. I mean, literally, these programs, a lot of these, like I did an episode on NASA. Like satanic origins, like literally every time they were establishing the JPL. Yes, Jack Parsons with a literal Aleister Crowley thelemic Satanist. Said that he met the devil, like he had done some chant. They were having sexual rituals. And when you were speaking about this stuff a long time ago, it sounded crazy, Alex. I'm not going to lie. And now I show people, this is on Wikipedia. This is not on some deep Reddit feed. You can go read about how they established the jet propulsion program via Jack Parsons and what faith he believed in. He believed in Satan. He worshiped the devil. He was having sexual rituals, trying to impregnate a woman via sexual ritual black magic to create a moon child. Even saying it sounds crazy, but it's just available on Wikipedia. That's a scary reckoning for those of us who have been asleep for a very long time. It's scary
No, I
to
totally agree with you.
recognize that Alex Jones was right. That's a scary thing, by the way. Alex Jones was right is a scary thing to say, you know, because then you go, whoa, who's running America? What's actually happening in this society? These people have power and they've always had power. That's scary.
Absolutely. And just to finish up on the big question you asked, because that really is the big one, we can sit here and debate them all day as there was a stand down. We know the deep state did this. The stand down is at every level, and the ridiculous response of the Secret Service director, who's under the direction of Mayorkas, who's a master Lex Luthor in real life villain. And then they say, oh, it's a slanted roof. We can't put people up there. It's not safe. And then the counter sniper team is on the slanted roof next door that's even more slanted. I mean, this is barely even a slanted roof. It's perfect to be on as the command base. You don't have the police in the command center, which the shooter shot from the roof of. You have them on top of the damn roof. At any presidential event I've ever been to, they're all over the roofs. And when the president's speaking, I've seen them with Stinger missiles on top of the White House, and I've seen them with Stinger missiles in Dallas when I saw Reagan speak in the mid-1980s. So here's the bottom line. We know they did it. They're behind it. They said they wanted to kill him. It's all out there on record. The intelligence agencies have 6 ways for Sunday to get even with you. As Schumer said, we need to get those videos up on X. I'm going to post them in the next hour to Real Alex Jones. I hope you guys share them. And I've got all these CIA guys saying we're going to kill Trump. The CIA is going to kill Trump. And of course, they run the CIA and the Justice Department. So nobody's going to go grab them and take them in for very serious interrogation, because this is the time for serious interrogation. But they control the high ground. They control the government. They control the agencies. So that's why they have this incredible arrogance. And Trump has gotten a lot of this knowledge now. He's not as naive as he used to be. And I know he's got people around him now that actually know what's going on. And I'm just going to leave it at that. Okay, let's just say some of my acolytes, people that have been listening to me for decades, are now very close to Trump. And I've been meeting with some of these folks. When I say very close, I mean, you know, if something happens to Trump, this person's the president, that close. And they told me, no, we know, decades listening, we understand you got the blueprint. We want to work with you. We want to understand the battle plan, how to defeat them. Well, that's happening. But there's not any need for me to even talk to them on the phone. They're watching. The chiefs of staff are watching. They all get it now. They're like, whoa, this guy isn't crazy. No, folks, I'm not crazy. I have so much knowledge, it makes my head burn, because I can sit here for 10 hours and give you evidence, and you could go look it up. It's all open, okay? Like I tell you, there's animal-human clones all over the place. It's declassified. It's public. But it's kept in these industrial reservations, walled off. But the fact of its existence is there. And that's what I'm saying, is the deep state is so much deeper. So they have to kill Trump now. They have nothing to lose. Their backs are against the wall. Trump is riding a wave of a global political realignment. They're going to try to blow up his airplane. They're going to try to poison him. They're going to try to roll a truck bomb into Mar-a-Lago. So there better be barriers a mile away. And they are going to even set off a low yield 1 megaton, 2 megaton atomic bomb. They might use a neutron bomb, which again, they could detonate a small neutron bomb at 1,000 feet above Mar-a-Lago, and it would kill everyone in a quarter mile, half mile range, even if they're in a bunker, and it would not damage any of the infrastructure. It just sends a high powered wave of radiation through you, and depending on how close you are, you die within minutes to hours. So just it's a big microwave.
Damn.
And so I know the enemy. I guarantee you they're already following Trump around with a neutron bomb or a tactical nuke if they think that he's about to figure something out or make a move against them. They're only gauging right now, can they make a deal with him and then double crossing? Can they back off and then try to infiltrate once he's in, or during the 79 days when he's president-elect is when they're going to try to poison him. So
Well, I will
poisoning
say
is
this,
number one.
yeah, it does seem like they're getting sloppy, you know, and what happened, obviously, by the grace of God, Trump survived this, and now everyone's paying attention, everybody's watching, and that's not good for them. I do want to ask you this question. What would have happened if they had successfully assassinated Trump on that stage? Before you answer that, I do want to cut to a brief message from our sponsors. All right, you guys, I'm so sorry to interrupt this conversation because me and Alex Jones, we are talking purely, which is why I want to take a brief moment to talk to you about Pure Talk. Rise, they want you know they want to listen to plus wireless and Cash Owens and your 50%. Let's say that.
Seat and take off briefly back.
What would have happened thereafter?
Well, I've run these scenarios, and just briefly back to what I was saying. Why would the Russians want all these nukes to defeat and take over America? Why would America want that for defense or to take over a country? They can take over America and keep their coup and their power if they kill Trump. So I'm saying they will do anything and then say the Iranians did it. And I said that Saturday. I said they'll roll a truck bomb into Mar-a-Lago, or they'll Stinger missile Trump's plane and then claim that Iran got it. And they're going to start saying Iran's going to kill Trump. The next day, they came out and said Iran's going to kill Trump because it's simple deduction. They want to hit Iran next. And so you just come out and say Iran has killed Trump. And then everybody gets patriotic and we go blow up Iran. That's why I had to get ahead of it.
They're running 9/11 again. They're running the 9/11 strategy again. But American people are too awake to that. No one bit on the Iran bullet,
Yes.
so to speak.
Yes.
So
let me tell you
that's
the war
not
game.
going to work.
Absolutely. So I just do deduction on all the different scenarios and the combinations of scenarios. So here's the answer to your dark scenario. If by the grace of God, he survived, but if he'd have been killed, and I've wargamed this on my show, so I'm not giving you this my opinion now. I'm wargaming the different scenarios. If they killed Trump at that event, they were then planning to truck bomb the White House and say that Iran did it, or that a Trump supporter did it, or a group affiliated with Russia did it, or they might even do a tactical nuke on the White House, and the hysteria cut the internet off, and then you're hearing announcement Iran's hit us, and then Israel and the United States hit Iran with nuclear weapons. Then the globalists would set off a few more tactical nukes, and then they've already brought in hundreds of thousands of Hamas and Hezbollah operatives into the United States. They would be activated. Yeah. They would be activated by Iran, so that wouldn't be a false flag. They would then go on top high rises and dump mixtures that would create chlorine gas into the buildings. They would then sabotage and blow up dams. They would then attack the major capitals and government buildings and military bases. And so the United States would have been on fire right now. Tactical nukes would have already gone off.
I want to just interject there because I have been covering. Obviously, the CIA is allowing our borders to be porous, and it's been interesting to see which countries these people are coming from. It's not Mexico anymore. It's Kazakhstan. China. Chinese men coming over the border. They're aware that this is happening. And I feel very much that they want an attack to happen on American soil. So in my viewpoint, there's just no way that they're allowing these people into the country unchecked. It's like they want an attack to happen so that they can blame it on a foreign country.
You're absolutely right. This is all deduction. They kill Trump, they kill Biden, they get rid of both things at the same time. They blame Iran. They then hit Iran in nuclear war. Iran then activates its sleeper cells. That's just how the dominoes go boop, 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 boop. And that's one scenario. I could go through about 20, but they're already pre-programming the scenarios I predicted. And that doesn't mean they're going to do each scenario. They've got to warm these things up and get them in operational mode. But right now, it's like the Death Star powering up to blow up a planet. They're initiate primary ignition. They're powering it up right now. And so I'm seeing all the signs of this being powered up right now for them to blow its plane out of the air, you name it. And then they're going for broke because they're going to World War III with the Russians. They think they can win a nuclear war. They intend this. These are psychotics. And that's why I'm telling people the worst scenario here, because only admitting this can have enough of a global awakening and enough heat on the globalists that when they pull all of this, no one is going to buy it, as you just said earlier. So that's why information warfare is critical to exposing them. They sent in the Justice Department, controlled people 6 weeks ago to my office with no court order and tried to bluff the private security company I've had for like 7-8 years to close the place. I threatened to call the police. The security company agreed, so this is wrong. They tried the next day to come and do it. They later admitted in court and to my lawyers, the U.S. trustee appointed by the judge didn't do this. He blocked it and fired him. But the U.S. trustee appointed and the CRO appointed said we were ordered by the lawyers and the families, and it's the Justice Department running it, and by the Justice Department to shut you down 6 weeks ago. I'm not that important. Why would the Justice Department get so vigilante that they would come try to close the office without a court order, and a judge totally fired them and kicked them off, and now is standing up to them? Because I said when that happened, I had Laura Logan on the show. That's the show you'll find that, like 6 weeks ago. And I said, this isn't about me. They're getting ready to kill Trump. That's the only reason, because they understand that I have done the research, and I will lay out blueprints for any researcher or any government people who haven't focused on this can instantly, any analyst, any mainline historian can do this, but you've got to have a lot of different anthropology understanding. You've got to have military understanding. You've got to have energy and supply chain understanding, historical background understanding. But I've got all of these pieces, and there are a lot of people that are smart as I am or smarter who also have these backgrounds. They've just got to admit this is happening. This is fifth generational warfare for the entire future of the planet. They've already got life extension technologies. They've already got free energy, and they know that Russia and China are about to get them too. And then once Earth gets free energy, which has already been proven, it's over. The wars are over, unlimited expansion. Our biggest problem is going to be deciding whether we want to, quote, merge with machines and pretend we're immortal. And, you'll be a new creature. You'll be a new species, but will you be what we were? This is really childhood's end. We're having to decide the whole future of our destiny. And the globalists don't want a big public debate about that destiny. But Elon Musk just told them at the World Government Forum last year, called World Government Forum. Remember, that didn't exist. Now it's out in the open. He said, your system will fail. You can't have a centralized system. You're the real threat to humanity, not us. And we've got to empower humanity. And we've got to let people have decisions about this. So Musk, and I've interviewed him and talked to him quite a bit, and he's on the same page. And he understands this now and is saying, I'm with you. I don't want to be part of the technocracy, even though he's heavily in it. He's saying people will have the opportunity to do this stuff if they want, but we're not going to make people do it. Is the point. And we're sure as hell not going to cut the resources off and cut off the fossil fuels and all the rest of it. So he says that'll kill billions of people, which it will. So, someone like Musk can listen to me, and he has these pieces, is obviously smarter than I am. And he goes, no, that's true. I told him a month ago with Tucker Carlson, I said, they're going to try to kill you next. You're just as important as Trump. I said, they're going to try to kill Trump. So we're going to play that clip on my show. I said, they're going to try to kill Trump, and they're going to try to kill Elon Musk, and both of them better up their security and better watch their back. And Elon Musk retweeted and said, I think you're right. I am going to up my security. So I'm just saying, listen, folks, this is real. I'm not being alarmist. I know this sounds like science fiction because you're in the year 2024, and the technology the globalists have suppressed is in 2050. All right, 2050 at least. They're at least 25 years ahead of what you're being shown, and they've decided it's too dangerous. That's another reason they want to depopulate, is they actually have decided AI is too dangerous and that it's going to get out of control. So they want to have a new dark age, basically, where they keep technology sequestered for themselves, but then the general public isn't given any of it. And then, like a reservation, the globalists have bragged about this. Jeff Bezos and others have been honest about it. Earth is going to be like a national park or a nature preserve that'll have some small settlements of humans, so the globalists can come down from their space bases, and they can come see us and go be in a village for a month and see the primitive humans and live like that if they want. And then they're going to go back up to their space bases, and they're also going to have some city states, big command bases that are all walled off. So, and you go, well, that's Hunger Games. Well, they're not copying Hunger Games. Hunger Games is a reflection of someone that's done the research, is actually telling you with predictive programming what their plan is. They actually are going to build the Hunger Games. That you read the UN World Government plans, you read all the stuff that their futurists are saying. They have agreed on a Hunger Game plan, but it's not like where there's just the districts in America. Well, why are there just districts here? Because they've nuked everybody else and killed everybody. Okay, so I mean,
I actually very much subscribe to the depopulation, and I believe that there is an agenda to depopulate, and you predicted that as well. I'm taking a quick break here to cut to one of our sponsors, because then I want to talk to you about vaccination. I do not vax my children, and you were kind of early on to speaking about the harms and the ills of vaccination. Just a quick message from our sponsors. Okay, guys, one organization, Aaron Hood. great sponsor of the show. Preborn is you, it's me. We actively have an opportunity to steal their clientele, which are the babies that they work to kill every single day. Preborn operates on a very fortunately, actually, I was vax injured when I was 20, woke me up to vaccines. I realized they're lying about everything. Everyone thinks it began with COVID. And I produce a series to wake people up and let them know that changing diagnostic definitions, what they told you, the belief that everybody was going to die unless you gave them your bodily autonomy. Well, people saw that during COVID. They saw the government lie in real time. They saw people get injured, myocarditis in teenagers, and then they saw the media try to pretend that all this was normal. And so people are awake now to that conversation about vaccines. And so I will ask you, because you spoke about this, I think in 2002, I mean, unbelievably, we're talking about a vaccine depopulation agenda. Can you tell me where you got that information way back when and what you think about that now?
Well, again, Candace, 99% of this is all public information. There was a book on my parents' bookshelf. There were a bunch of books about the population bomb and books by Paul Ehrlich, books by a whole bunch of globalists. And I just grew up seeing these books, and I became a really avid reader by the 5 or 6, started reading adult books by 8, 9, 10. And so I read Paul Ehrlich's books. And in the books, he says we're going to put chemicals in the vaccines that attack the fertility. It won't sterilize 100% of people, so folks won't notice it first, and we'll just increase the amount of toxins in it. He talked about how fluoride was reducing fertility and lowering IQ and causing cancer, how great that was. And then he wrote the eco-science plan that was later adopted as the official plan for depopulation with John P. Holdren, who later became the White House science czar for Obama. But he wrote in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, he's still around. And John Stossel just exposed him, and Elon Musk retweeted it, so he got like 100 million views. And in that, he's right there saying in 1978, we're going to put images on TV undermining the family and making all men look dumb and make it look like women are in charge, not to help people, to break down society. And he goes, then we're going to, and so he's just up there, yeah, we're going to put chemicals in there and they're going to sterilize you. And it's not just him. It's Bertrand Russell. I read his books. He says that. Brave New World Revisited. It's nonfiction. Aldous Huxley, 1961, says that. And then you actually go read the UN plans. I mean, it's like replacement migration. It's an official UN world plan through UNESCO and through the Office of Resettlement. And it's an official treaty to flood the West with 680 million people by 2050 here and 550 million in Europe by 2050. I mean, it's an official plan, and then you talk about it, and the ADL said you're a Nazi. Okay, so what I'm telling you is I know all this because I've read their books. I mean, people can watch my film Endgame, Blueprint for Global Enslavement. It's 2.5 hours long. It's free. It had like 100 million views till they took it down off of Google Video and then off YouTube. But there's copies of it here and there. It's at band.video on my website. I posted it on X when I first got back on. It got a few million views there. Endgame, Blueprint for Global Enslavement. And I show them saying we're going to have world government and we're going to sterilize you. And we're going to do it to you. And we're going to spray aluminum dioxide in the air. And we're going to control the weather. So it's like you're at Thanksgiving. And over at the big adult table, they're talking about, all this adult stuff. And we're like over here at the little kid table eating our macaroni and cheese. But I come over to the adult table. That's actually what I did when I was about 6, 7 years old. I'm like, what are these adults talking about? This is really interesting. And I thought, I'm interested in this. I'm not interested in acting cool or reading comic books. I mean, I still like sports and girls, definitely. But I mean, I was all about how do nuclear reactors work? How do atomic weapons work? How do hydrogen bombs work? How does energy work? How does physics work? Well, what are these agencies? Well, who are these groups? And I read probably 200 books on World War II. And I read Mein Kampf, and I read the writings of Julius Caesar and the Battle for Gaul. And I read Aristotle and Plato, and I got the sense. I mean, Plato said 2,200 plus years ago in his Republic, he said we need to kill all the dumb people and only have smart people breed. They're crushing the breast of Mother Nature. And then Plato goes along into other Malthusians that he spawned, like Malthus, who was around 300 years ago. And then out of him, 180 years ago, comes Francis Galton. And Francis Galton's entire worldview of depopulation is adopted by the British Empire as their official policy, is to develop systems and technologies to control the public. They said, discover what makes up the cells, discover how to control people. They said, we want you to invent computers. We want you to invent biometrics. We want devices that can scan someone and then tell us who they are and where they went. And so Galton and the top scientists in England said, we're going to envision things called computers and things called biometrics and things called, all of this. And then they, just like the British, what was it, 400 years ago? I'm not getting the exact date, said, we'll pay the equivalent of like $10 billion. I forget what the prize was. It was some huge amount, however many pounds of silver, tons of it. We will pay you, tons of silver if you can invent a clock that is accurate down to a few seconds and that can be stored and operate on a ship. And a year later, they had it. And they said, now if you can make it even smaller, we'll give you the money. And so they just learned with scientists, if they just gave them money, they could invent anything, because that's how powerful humans are. And so now you've just got trillions going into cloning and weapons and free energy. But now the globalists have all these giant underground warehouses of just all this incredibly fabulous stuff. And, I mean, it's beyond, science fiction. And they're like, we're not going to give this to all these people. We're just going to kill them. And so that's what they've decided to do. And if we get a Trump in there and he says he's going to declassify a bunch of this stuff and he's trying to find out about it himself, they're like, we're not going to give the public that. And so that's what this is. Trump wants a pro-human
and I do want to
renaissance.
say, so what you're talking about is basically the independent pursuit of knowledge, and I've recently also been using my platform to speak out against birth control because it's all right there. So the problem is that what's running parallel to what they're trying to do scientifically is what they're doing psychologically. And so they have a permanent class of people sitting 6 hours a day, and they are, by the time they come out of the public school system, they are so deluded and they believe everything that they learned as a token of their education. Birth control is good. I mean, I showed on my show, they were never lying about their intentions with birth control. I mean, they even named it birth control. I mean, this was all about eugenicism. It was all about making sure that people were infertile. They were experimenting on Africans. I used real sources to show them every birth control does this. By the way, it's not like there's one that was good. They never changed the medicine. They knew it was causing cancer, breast cancer. It's right there on the inserts today. And yet the majority of women, if you talk to them, will think that birth control has no side effects simply because they have been so severely propagandized in the classroom that coming to that awakening, they just can't even process it. And now I'm of the age where women are struggling to have babies, struggling to have one. They have to turn to the government. They got to turn to IVF. I mean, it's insane. And you really start to see this futuristic, humanistic agenda that you're speaking about. Like, in the future, we will control who is born and who will die. And so to disrupt that narrative, you must read independent sources. You actually it's all, once you know what you're looking for, it's very easy to find it. Like you said, you just Google it, you just Google all the women that were being forced that they could experiment on with birth control because they were so concerned about.
They now admit most women in major studies that took the shot, their menstrual cycle never went back to normal. They've been fried. Right. My mother, even though she's smart, got a Dalcon shield. And I was the only child she could have. They adopted my sister, and they admitted that Dalcon shield sterilized her and was designed to do it. So,
it was designed, these things were designed to sterilize. And that's what I tell women. I'm like, once you look into the history of each of these things, it's shocking. And they just somehow were allowed to get these things approved, obviously, because the FDA is a corrupt organization.
My grandmother's doctor told her.
It's scary when you know that there's people out there who would genuinely believe that shit too. Like, you could tell them the truth and you could tell them like what it really is, but they're still going to believe what they're told by their quote unquote teachers or their peers or their fucking fellow students or whoever the case may be. If you tell them the straight up truth, they'll still choose to believe the opposite, which is wild.
In the mid-50s, she got polio from the vaccine. Her doctor told her that. So my grandmother died in a wheelchair. She was in a wheelchair from the time my mother was 5 years old till she died at 92. Great lady, beautiful woman, life wrecked and ruined by a live vaccine that gave her polio. And then my mother is sterilized by the government because she believed him and wanted my dad to finish medical school. So thought, okay, I'll wait to get pregnant. And she was so sad. She never got over on having more children. I love your show, Candace. It's so good to be on. Please come on mine soon. I've got to go do mine in 3 minutes. And I know I'm kind of burnt out and frazzled today. I would love to come back prepared sometime in studio and really knock it out of the park with you. And they've lied about you. They've twisted things about you. You've done nothing wrong. You are a powerful, smart, informed, beautiful woman, and they are scared of your strength. And that's why they're attacking you and lying about you. And I love you.
Thank you so much, Alex. We will definitely do this in person in the future, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to Alex Jones for joining today. And there's so many more topics. If anything sounds crazy to you, I'm telling you, do your independent research and you will be shocked to see that it is not so. Everything you've learned is an intentional lie meant to psychologically convince you that the government is your friend. It is not. Alex, thank you so much for all the time.
Candace, thank you. Talk soon.
All right, guys, that's all the time that we have.
That was a great fucking interview, boy. They be giving you the straight up truth, but it's up to you to do your own research on that truth. And that's another thing. Just because it's Alex, just because it's Candace, just because it's fucking Nick Fuentes or AT&TT or whoever the fuck it is that you listen to, just because they tell you doesn't mean that you should believe them at face value. Yes, their word is truth, but you also should do your own research so that you can come to your own conclusion. It's called thinking for yourself and formulating your own opinion. Because if you were to just take Alex's word at face value or Candace's word at face value, AT&TT's words at face value, or Nick Fuentes' words at face value, or whoever the fuck it is, you're no different than the people who sit there and watch the news and just automatically believe that what fucking CNN and MSNBC and BBC News is saying. You're no better than those people. What separates us from them is that when we're told something, we do our own research and formulate our own opinion on it and have our own thoughts, have our own ideas about shit. And other people are just sheeps. They look at the TV and they think, oh, well, we got told this, so this is what it is. They don't do no type of research. They don't fucking formulate their own opinion. They don't do anything. They just take it as it is and they keep on moving. That's what's different between us and them. They're sheep and we're not. So don't be a sheep. Do your own fucking research. But now they be spitting 100% facts, though, man. Alex Jones and Candace Owens and all of them, they be speaking 100% facts. So, yes, sir. With that being said, man, appreciate y'all for tapping in. Make sure y'all share with your friends, your families, your mummies, your aunties, your grannies, and everybody else that y'all know. I'm finna go ahead and get this outro pulled up, and we finna bounce.
Hey, it was a fun tour. Going out here and all this shit all over fucking USA, and I'm done with all this shit. I'm cool off all this fucking talking shit. I got a whole team to represent. I don't want to do none of this. I never did want to do any of it. Fuck this nigga and fuck his team, bro. I'm out. I gotta go. Square up with yourself, motherfucker.